I want to welcome a special guest today, Dr. Ralph Martin, who is the author of The Fulfillment of All Desire and even more recently, another Emmaus Road title, which is A Church in Crisis. Dr. Martin is on the faculty at Sacred Heart Seminary in Detroit. He's also the founder and president of Renewal Ministries, and he spent years helping us here at Franciscan University by serving on the Board of Trustees. Ralph, welcome back.
Hi, Scott. Really great to be back here. A very familiar place, very comfortable place. You know, Father Dave Pravanko, the current president, is on our board of Renewal Ministries, too, so there's so many interconnections between us.
I love that collaboration, yes. I also love the book that you have finished up, A Church in Crisis. Tell us a little bit about how it came about.
Yeah, well, you know, I was invited to give a paper at Georgetown University for the 50th anniversary of Vatican II. Some professor at Louvain, some of his grad students had been citing my book called Will Many Be Saved in their papers and convinced them to invite me to the conference. And it was quite an experience. It was like, wow, all my co-presenters, many of them were, known dissenters. You know, Charlie Curtin was there, dissenter from Unite Vitae, Father Roger Haidt, who's been corrected by the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith and Christology and Interreligious Dialogue. And Cardinal Casper was a keynote speaker, who was so important in the synods of families and pushing for communion for a divorced and remarried without getting an annulment. And
so there was a lone voice in the wilderness.
Well, it was a strange experience. I don't normally have an opportunity to speak to that audience, but it was like people were saying, it was like happy days are here again. They knew something about what was going to happen under Pope Francis' pontificate that the rest of us didn't know. Like they were celebrating that, the spirit of Vatican II is back. And as you know, the spirit of Vatican II has been used as an excuse by many people to push it beyond what it actually teaches and to, get it in bad direction. So in my particular section of the conference, we were talking about evangelization. I did my normal stuff about what Vatican II actually teaches about salvation of people without hearing the gospel. But another one of my co-presenters was the Dominican responsible for evangelization in Canada. And his main point is we should have a moratorium on evangelization and just focus on interreligious dialogue. So this was the spirit of the conference. So I say, gee, I thought this stuff had been settled. We had all those wonderful years in the John Paul II and Benedict XVI where they were correcting a lot of these problems. The original book I wrote, almost 40 years ago, A Crisis of Truth, was identifying all these problems, and it looked like they were getting settled, but they're back. And one of the shocking things is that they must have been underground. There must have been a lot of people who really weren't buying the Orthodox interpretation of Vatican II and were waiting for an opportunity to push things in a different direction. So, and as I began to see things unfold in the years since, saying, we got some problems again. We really do. We got some big problems.
So with the loosening of the discipline of doctrine, liturgy, and morals came this seizing of the moment by people who in so many ways were sort of ready for retirement, if not already in early retirement. Yeah. And so this confusion that has descended upon the church is now coupled with the pandemic that has settled upon the world. Yeah. And clearly now I think what's emerging is a sense that this crisis is a divine trial for the people of God, if I can say it that strongly.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody recently, and they said they think there's no question about it. The devil is using the virus crises to try to crush the church and try to weaken society and just kind of break down all kinds of things that are impeding evil, but that God is permitting it because he's got a purpose to it. He's allowing it. Nothing happens without the providence of God, as we know, which is just a powerful truth that we need to speak about more, don't you think, Scott? I mean, really, nothing happens without the permission of God, and he only permits those things that he has a plan for bringing really good out of. So, and a lot of times, it's severe mercy, isn't it? It's like, hey, I tried to get your attention in so many other ways, and I'm going to have to allow this tough stuff to happen to shake you loose from your false reliances, from your false idols, from your false worship, from your false gods, and I think that's part of what's happening, but it's a terrible, terrible time of spiritual struggle right now. Like it's a crisis time, both in the world and in the church.